Now at 9, a Joplin man is arrested after a crash claims the life of another person. Plus, how a neighborhood app is being used to help keep local communities safe. And a Pittsburgh brewery kicks off summer with a family splash night.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Jalen Banks. Joplin police arrested a man for felony DWI after another person was killed in a crash. Authorities say the crash happened around 8:30 last night along River Road, just east of Main Street in Joplin. They say a Chevy Cobalt traveling west when it left the roadway and overturned, crashing into a large brick mailbox. The passenger, 20-year-old Liberty Fowler of Joplin, was killed. The 21-year-old driver of the car crash has been arrested, but formal charges have not yet been filed. The Missouri Division of Fire Safety says the drought in the state is worsening. They say 3 months ago, 1.5% of Missouri was in moderate drought or worse. Now it's more than 70%. They say the percent of Missouri in severe drought grew to 43%. They want to remind everyone to be very careful with any activities that could spark a fire, including fireworks. Meteorologist Sam Lane joins us with the first look at the weather.
All right, thank you very much, Jalen. Yeah, the drought is in control across a large part of Missouri, Kansas, as well as Nebraska. There has been some improvement out towards the west, but unfortunately in our local area, the drought is still severe and exceptional in Elk, Chautauqua, and Montgomery counties. And now the severe drought starting to spread into central Missouri. Just how bad can it be? Well, the last time that Independence was above normal in rainfall was June the 12th last year. So that's a full year and 10 days of below normal precipitation. They're having an accumulation of 44 inches. They're supposed to be about 67. That's a deficit of 23 inches of rainfall. Hopefully we'll get some rain. We do have some in the forecast, and I'll tell you all about that when we come back in just a little bit.
All right, we'll see you then. Some local city officials are saying residents are incorrectly using an app to voice concerns. KOAM's Anthony Saviello visited Joplin and Pittsburgh to break down the proper use of See, Click, Fix.
I sat down with Joplin and Pittsburgh city officials to discuss an app intended to help communities and to figure out how the process works.
See, Click, Fix is a user content management software program that the city utilizes for citizens to engage us with concerns, issues they may see out in the community. It's a reporting mechanism they can do either online or through their smartphones.
But what kind of concerns should you be using this app for?
Pothole, a street sign missing, a hanging tree limb in the street, those type of instances, you're able to confirm where you are and categorize the incident and report any additional information that's required.
For roads like this one, with dozens of potholes and cracks, See, Click, Fix is essential and allows you to notify the city and get these issues taken care of.
There have been instances where the app has been used to report criminal activity, but officials say that this is not the app's purpose.
No, See, Click, Fix is not used for suspicious behavior. Again, those would be reported through your regular law enforcement avenues, 911, call the police.
Other misuses for this app include the reporting of homelessness and squatting.
So, it's important to note that See, Click, Fix is not a crime reporting app, but it is an app that allows you to be a public service to your community and help resolve issues like the one you see behind me here with the click of a button. Reporting in Pittsburgh, I'm Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
See, Click, Fix is available on Android and iPhones and is free to use. A Pittsburgh brewery gave families a chance to have some summer fun. Jolly Fox Brewery hosted a family splash night. The brewery had more than 1,000 water balloons and had it on hand for people to throw around at each other. Organizers say it's a good way to involve the community.
It was tricky figuring out the details, but it's summertime and it's hot. And I know as a kid, all I wanted to do was jump in the pool. I wanted to be in the water, swimming around like a mermaid. So, everyone loves a good water balloon fight. So we figured it'd be easy enough to keep out here and for everyone to have fun with it.
Jolly Fox is located at 301 South Broadway in Pittsburgh. Joplin Empire Market organizers are giving the community chances to grow their green thumbs or learn some new skills. Today, folks got the chance to hone their canning skills. The beginners class helped participants stockpile knowledge to get started canning at home.
Underestimating the time it takes to can, so they're kind of rushing through it or maybe skipping some steps to get to the end result. And then the last one is using information that is not evidence-based for their canning processes. So,
if you or your friends are interested in going, classes run from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. every Thursday. The U.S. Coast Guard says the missing submersible on its way to view the Titanic wreckage imploded underwater, killing all 5 passengers on board. The sub vanished on Sunday along with 5 passengers, including a British billionaire, French mariner, and members of a prominent Pakistani business family. One of the sub's former passengers described safety concerns aboard the vessel. The sub's operator OceanGate says it's grieving the lives lost. One local man believes the missing Titanic submersible could have been found earlier by using technology from the 1960s. KOAM's Amber Jenkins has more details.
Because when we have an accident, we spend millions of dollars looking for these vessels when they can find them within 5 minutes or so.
The submersible that went missing while touring the Titanic has captured the nation's attention as well as the local man's. James Wilcox says an acoustic transponder is the solution to the scary situation.
I never hear anything about acoustic transponders even being mentioned on TV, and it bothers me because I'm so familiar with this technology. I used it in the 60s.
Wilcox specialized in navigating oceans with sonar technology. According to Wilcox, his crew would deploy acoustic transponders into the waters. Calculating the distance using time and sound, Wilcox ships will circle the transponder, honing in on the exact location.
The digital clock starts when we transmit. Then when we receive the signal back from the acoustic transponder, that clock stops. That lets us know how far we are from that transponder.
In the 60s, James Wilcox used devices like this transponder to locate and find Russian submarines in the Atlantic Ocean. But he says today, first responders can use this device to find the Titanic submarine, even without the use of satellites.
There's no reason why they couldn't have located this, but they didn't bother to have an acoustic transponder on. Now those acoustic transponders I showed are good down to 1,000 meters. That's a half a mile. They're down 2 miles, but they do build acoustic transponders that'll work in the deepest parts of the ocean.
According to the U.S. Coast Guard, the missing submersible imploded near the wreckage of the Titanic, killing all 5 on board. Wilcox believes acoustic transponders should be required on all submersibles.
It's not something you can attach to it afterwards. This already has to be in use on the vessel, but it doesn't have to operate until it needs to.
Reporting in Joplin, Amber Jenkins, KOAM News.
Wilcox says after years of working in building transponders, he knows just how useful they can be when searching in large amounts of water. Coming up, why health experts are saying that children's stomach pains may be more serious than you might believe. A new poll suggests parents should take children's stomach pain more seriously. The poll found 1 in 6 parents say their child complains of tummy aches at least once a month. And while 1 in 3 parents surveyed are confident they can identify whether the belly pain is serious, parents do not always seek professional advice when these complaints become regular. The poll found 2 in 5 parents who report monthly belly pain for their child have not discussed the issue with a pediatrician. Eating healthy can be a struggle year-round, but especially over the summer when kids are out of school and routines are disrupted. Reporter Mandy Gaither has ideas for some healthy summer snacks for kids.
More time at home may mean less time focusing on healthy eating habits.
Kids need 3 meals and 2 to 3 snacks per day. So our job as the caregiver is really to set that routine and what that looks like for our children.
Dietitian Catherine Sherry says keeping kids healthy over the summer should start at the grocery store. Let children be a part of the process, allowing them to pick out which fruits or veggies they'd like to eat. When it comes to snacks, Sherry says pair them with at least 2 different food groups.
Having a trail mix with a piece of fruit. So we've got some protein and then we've got the fiber in the fruit. Having some popcorn, maybe with some edamame. We've got the fiber with the popcorn and we've got some protein with that edamame.
Other ideas, freeze-dried fruit and some peanut butter crackers, yogurt, fruit, and some crunchy cereal so they can make their own yogurt parfait. A hard-boiled egg and cheese is a great high-protein snack, or some hummus, veggies, and crackers to dip.
All of those snacks are well-rounded, that have fiber, protein, and help to keep your kiddo fuller longer.
Meals should continue being balanced too. Sherry says to fill half the plate with fruits and veggies, the other half with protein and whole grains. And finally, make sure your child stays hydrated. Offer water throughout the day.
Ensuring that we're not drinking too much of the sodas, the juices, the Gatorades that have a lot of sugar in them.
The FDA is developing new nutrition labels that will go on the front of packaged goods. That's in the hope that the information will be more clear and easily understood so consumers can make healthier choices and avoid diet-related chronic diseases. The FDA also believes the new labeling will encourage the food industry to develop healthier products that Americans want to buy. The agency is pushing to have these new front label regulations out by December. Sam is back with a complete look at the forecast, and later, Missouri Southern women's basketball announces a group of players joining the team. We'll hear from them in sports.
Well, it was another hot one across the 4 states. Of course, second day of summer setting up across our region. Let's start out this morning looking at Indigo Sky Casino and Resort down in Seneca, Missouri. And as we head through the afternoon, you can see just a few clouds floating by, and then in the afternoon, cumulus clouds started to develop across the area, and some of those turned into some showers out towards the west. But as the sun set this evening, we're left with mostly fair skies and just some high thin cirrus clouds off to the west. Now today, believe it or not, was actually normal, right on target for the high and the low, 88 and 67, the high and low respectively. And looking at the month of June, we're below normal for the rainfall so far for the month, and of course 7 inches behind for the year. We have some storms on radar, but they're way down to the south and west in Oklahoma City, and these are starting to die now across the central part of the state. However, we do have one lone shower in our area just to the west of Independence near Rutland, between Rutland and Elk City, and also in northeastern Osage County, but that is about it. Not a whole lot to see on radar in our area, unfortunately. Temperatures are not bad, generally in the 70s right now, 77 in Fort Scott, Lamar, Monette, and Cassville, 76, one of the coolest readings up in Stockton as well as Nevada. Meanwhile, it's still 81 in Independence and Sedan for some of the warmest readings. And when you factor in the dew points and the humidity, feels like it's in the mid 70s, close to 80 degrees still at this hour. 84 is what it feels like right now in Nowata. Rain chances are going to be very low for tonight and through most of tomorrow, but then as we go into the overnight hours into Saturday morning, rain chances are going to start to increase once again across our area, and that's some good news. But for tonight, the future track forecast looks like this: partly cloudy skies with lows in the 60s. And then tomorrow, again, partly cloudy with highs in the upper 80s to around 90 degrees, especially out towards the west. That's where the best chance of showers would be for tomorrow. And then as we go into tomorrow night into Saturday morning, that's when the rain chances start to increase again across our area, with lows near the upper 60s to lower 70s. And then on Saturday afternoon, some storms are likely to the east or in the eastern sections, but we should still make it into the low to mid 90s across the area. And then Saturday night into Sunday morning, along and south of I-44, we could see redevelopment of some storms, but lows will generally be in the 70s by Sunday morning. Rainfall amounts are not expected to be all that impressive, generally less than 1/10 of an inch across the area, unless you get underneath one of those heavier thunderstorms. Then you could pick up to around 1/2 an inch or so. Ridge of high pressure is still in control and will be that way for most of the tomorrow. Then the trough is going to make a presence back towards the west. It's going to shove this high a little bit further to the west, and that will allow storm chances to increase over the weekend. But then the ridge comes back as we move into the middle part of next week, and it's really going to build the heat across the area. How high? Well, here's the forecast: 90 for tomorrow. Storms late Saturday night into Sunday morning again possible, and then 89 for Monday. That'll be a little bit of a cooler day, But look at Thursday, 98, 97 on Friday. So we are definitely going into the throes of summertime here in the 4 states. Jalen?
The funniest thing of everything that you just said is 89, a bit of a cooler day.
Yeah, that's the cool front.
That's the point of the year that we've gotten to.
Yep.
All right, thank you, Sam. Some Tulsa residents are upset with the slow response to restoring power in the city. The state took more than 2 days to declare a state of emergency. The storm happened last Sunday while Governor Kevin Stitt was overseas on an economic development trip. State law says the governor cannot take any actions like signing an emergency declaration if they are not physically in the state. The responsibility then falls to Lieutenant Governor, but he also was out of the state at the time. That left Senate President Pro Tem Greg Treat in charge, but he says he wasn't informed of that when he found out the signed declaration. People across the South are assessing damage after the 7th straight day of severe weather. A tornado in Matador, Texas caused massive destruction and left at least 4 people dead. Matador is in the northern part of the state just south of the Panhandle. The entire town of about 600 people is without power. Crews are working to get it back up and running quickly as possible. Coming up, we'll have some tips to help you save money in your utility bill through the hot summer months. Existing home sales rose 0.2% in May, a slight increase from April. Though the median existing home price declined 3.1%. It's $396,100. The drop is the greatest since late 2011. It continues a year-over-year slump in prices that began in February. Yesterday was the first official day of summer, and Texas is already dealing with a potentially record-breaking heat wave. And those warmer temperatures across the country this summer mean higher utility bills. Reporter Jen Sullivan has some tips to help you keep costs down this season.
And then here, it goes up to $200.
Bracing for a hot summer with high utility bills as costs for water, electricity, and even gas tends to climb as the temperatures rise.
It's going to be a long summer. Now it's a matter of, will I have enough money for rent?
According to the U.S. Energy Information Administration, average electricity prices expected to rise about 2% from last year. And while the latest consumer price index showed energy costs decline 3.6% in May, prices are still too high for some Americans.
I think of the people who are going to have to make choices between paying their electricity bill, paying for food, paying for medicine or health care.
Here are 5 tips to keep utility bills down this summer. Number 1, use your dishwasher instead of hand washing. While it does use electricity, it saves energy and water. The U.S. Department of Energy says that could save you thousands of gallons of water each year. Also, air dry the dishes to reduce your dishwasher's energy. Number 2, raise the thermostat and use a fan. Raising the temperature and using a fan can help you use less energy running your air conditioner. Number 3, switch to more efficient bulbs. LED bulbs use at least 75% less energy than incandescent lighting. Number 4, use cold water when you wash laundry. The Department of Energy says 90% of the electricity used to wash a load goes towards heating the water. Number 5, check the air ducts. Holes, clogs, and leaks can lower your HVAC's efficiency. For today's Consumer Watch, I'm Jen Sullivan.
The IRS is picking up its pace. The agency has cut the tax return backlog by 80%, processing tens of millions of tax returns faster this year compared to the past. The IRS cut its backlog of unprocessed paper tax returns from 13.3 million returns at the end of 2022 filing season just over 2.5 million at the end of 2023 filing season. A report to Congress also shows it's getting a little easier to reach customer service on the phone. 35% of calls to the IRS are now answered compared to 11% before. Up next, a popular 1990s toy is coming back. We'll take a look at the toy and the mixed feelings about its return. Toy maker Hasbro is bringing back the Furby again. Hasbro reintroduced the bug-eyed, gibberish-talking furball with the launch on Amazon Thursday. To mark the toy's milestone anniversary. It hit stores nationwide July 15th. That could be good news or very bad news depending on who you ask. The 1990s animatronic toy phenomenon was cute to some kids, but a source of great frustration to a lot of parents. It didn't have an off button and would randomly wake up from a silent slumber at all times of the day and night and start talking. It cost $70 at present. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. How a national organization is helping local veterans take to the skies once again. Plus, 8 new sculptures are added to the Rotary Garden at Joplin's Mercy Park. We'll check them out. Veterans in Miami got a chance of flying back in time. The event was organized by Dream Flights, a donation volunteer-driven organization with the mission of giving back to those who served. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has the story.
Gary Harrison has not flown a biplane similar to this one since he left the military. But even though the airplanes might look similar, the feeling of being on board is different.
The area over there where you were in, you knew you could be losing your life at any time. And here, you're here for enjoyment and entertainment, and it's just marvelous.
Veteran Curtis Naida shares the feeling.
Flying in one of these planes is, you're not worrying about, are we going to get shot down? Are we, you're up there just free. You're not worrying about the what is.
This is the 4th time Dream Flights are here in Miami, offering veterans the chance of flying again. Dream Flights was founded by Daryl Fisher. Son of a veteran, his goal was to give back to those who served.
I fundamentally believe that people should hang on to their dreams. They're not thinking about biplane flights, but when you give them that flight, it kind of opens up their world and says, I can still do things, I'm relevant.
Oh, you just feel like you're in the sky, just like a bird. I mean, it's just wonderful. I'd jump right back in there again right now if they'd let me.
Reporting in Miami, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
The airplane veterans flew was a Boeing Stearman, built in 1942 and was a World War II primary trainer. Dream Flights have taken off in 49 states, and next month they will be going on their 6,000th flight. The Joplin Rotary Club is giving back to the community. They gave nearly $20,000 today to 8 local nonprofits. The proceeds came from their annual charity golf scramble. This is the 23rd year they've hosted the scramble. Proceeds went to organizations such as the Ronald McDonald House, Habitat for Humanity, and the Salvation Army.
That's based on just the committee's decision how much to fund each. And sometimes it depends on what they ask for. If we can fund their whole request, we'll do that. But sometimes it's a partial amount in order to spread our funds as far as possible.
The Joplin Rotary Club has been serving Joplin and the area since 1916. There are some new sculptures in Joplin's Mercy Park. 8 new sculptures were added to the Rotary Sculpture Garden. It's part of a collaboration between Joplin's 2 Rotary clubs. The sculptures were all donated to the park. 2 of the sculptures feature traditional Native American dances.
It's called the Wedding Dance. It's a brave and his soon-to-be partner, and the other one is a brave doing a special dance. We think those are really important for this is a part of the country where the Indians were.
There are now a total of 27 statues in the Rotary Garden at Mercy Park. A Boeing supplier in Wichita, Kansas has shut down its factory after workers voted to strike. The move to close the Spirit Aerosystems plant was made today after employees rejected the company's best and final offer in contract negotiations. The International Association of Mechanist and Aerospace Workers, or IAM, represents about 6,000 workers at the plant. The union said most members concluded Spirit Aerosystems' offer was unacceptable. Their work stoppage is set to begin on Saturday. In response, the company said IAM represented employees should not report to work Thursday but will receive pay. A bit later, how environmentalists are using robotic technology to make a difference in rainforest.
Well, folks, it was another warm one across the 4 states. Of course, summer officially started yesterday, but it was a full day of summer across the 4 states, and right now we're looking at a pretty nice evening shaping up down in Indigo Sky Casino and Resort just outside of Seneca, Missouri. You can see the planet Venus there in the western sky and also a few little high, thin cirrus clouds off in the distance. Believe it or not, we were actually right normal today with the high and the low being 88 and 67. Of course, that's the normals. 98 the record back in 2016 and 53 back in 1952. And of course, we're still behind on the rain for the month and for the year. And on radar, we have some storms, but they're down in Oklahoma City in central Oklahoma and starting to fall apart now. We do have one lone thunder shower in our area, and it's over there just west of Independence between Rutland and Elk City, right on the Chautauqua-Labette County line, or Montgomery County line. And that's about it. Instead, we're seeing temperatures right now in the 70s, close to 80. In fact, it is 80, 81 in Independence right now, 80 even in Nowata. Meanwhile, it's 76 in Nevada and in Iola for some of the coolest readings. Rain chances tonight are going to be pretty much near zero. But then as we go through tomorrow evening into Saturday morning, that's when the rain chances are going to start to increase across our area. And hopefully we'll get some thunderstorms to help put a dent in the drought. But tonight, mostly fair, with lows in the 60s, south winds. And then as we head through the day tomorrow, partly cloudy with highs in the upper 80s to right around 90 degrees once again. Best chance of showers tomorrow will be out towards the west once again. And then as we go into Friday night and Saturday morning, that's when we start to see the clouds increase and chances of showers beginning to increase with lows near 70 across the area. Then Saturday afternoon, some of the late computer model guidance indicates that we could see some thunderstorms developing in the southeastern portions of our viewing area, but we should still make it into the mid 90s out towards the west and lower 90s elsewhere, with the better chance of storms in the eastern sections. And then as we go through Saturday night and Sunday morning, we could see a redevelopment of storms along and south of I-44 with lows in the upper 60s to the north and west and 70s elsewhere. And looking at the rainfall amounts, they're going to be light, generally about a tenth or less across the area. Unless you get under a heavy thunderstorm, then you could pick up about half an inch or so. Ridge of high pressure is still in control, and that's why we're seeing all the hot air. But notice this is going to retreat back towards the west just a little bit as storm systems come up over the top of the ridge, kind of knocking it down a little bit. That will allow the storm chances to increase. And then as we go into Sunday, you can see we're in a northwest flow. That's a stormy direction for us in the summertime. But then as we head into the early part of next week, here comes the ridge again, and it's going to build back in with a vengeance. And as we start to see temperatures getting close to 100 degrees by the middle part of next week, as the high pressure is going to be in control. Here's the next 7 days, 90 tomorrow with partly cloudy skies. Then storms maybe late Friday into early Saturday. And then Saturday afternoon, maybe some redevelopment with a high of 93. 94 on Sunday with lesser chances of storms. And then as we head into Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, might see another round of storms. But then it gets really hot as we head towards Thursday with a high of 98. And then towards next weekend, maybe a little bit cooler as the ridge of high pressure starts to back away a little bit. So we've got that to look forward to.
Fingers crossed that each of those days we can get some type of precip.
I'm with you 100% on that.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Sam. Coming up in sports, Missouri Southern women's basketball welcomes 5 new players to its team. Plus, some of the best high school baseball players in the area team up for the summer. John Dales has those stories and more next.
Hey, welcome into sports. I'm John Dales. Missouri Southern women's basketball was 1 point away from a trip to the NCAA quarterfinals this March, but the Lions have lost a lot of contributors from that team in the offseason. That means a lot of fresh faces coming in this season. MSSU announced 5 new recruits coming on the team as of yesterday, on top of the 2 already added earlier in the offseason. Head coach Ronnie Russell says while last year's group certainly was fun to watch, he believes this year's will also be fun to watch, and those new recruits are already putting in work in the gym.
It'll be different, but it sometimes change is good in the aspect that we're going to have some different kids that have to do different things. We bringing kids in that hopefully they'll continue to developing their game, what they did in junior college, or they're transferring from their D2 or D1, continue to develop and grow as a individual, and then hopefully we continue to play at a high level, which I think we will, because I think the kids love to win. They love to get in the gym and work, so we're excited about it. Of course, we can't do anything with them, so they're working out on their own, getting in the weight room on their own, and that tells me a lot about these kids, some of our new kids that are here, that they're getting in the gym and doing stuff. That means they want to work, they want to get better, and they want to be successful.
Meanwhile, high school baseball standouts from across Kansas and Missouri have teamed up to play for the Midwest Mustangs, a travel team with kids 18 years old and younger. Right now, they're competing for a spot in the Connie Mack World Series held in New Mexico next month. To get there, they need to win the qualifier with over 27 other teams from several different states. Midwest Mustangs at Joe Becker Stadium in Joplin tonight, taking on the Texas Desperados. We start things in the bottom of the first. Webb City's Sean Hunt lines the ball into right field. Outfielders have all sorts of trouble with it, and Hunt clears the bases, a 3 RBI single. Mustangs up 3-0, just like that. We go ahead, bottom of the second, Mustangs up 3-1, and Logan Myers from Frontenac flies out to center field. Sac fly, Mustangs expand their lead up to 4-1. But from that point forward, things got turned upside down. Top of the third, tied 4-4, and the Desperados take the lead with an RBI single, makes it a 5-4 ball game. Go ahead to the bottom of the seventh, last chance for the Mustangs. Colt Underhauer flies out to left field. Mustangs can't rally back. They lose this one 8-5.
Well, I thought we did some really good things. Got a lot of base runners, got some balls put in play hard with 2 outs and a lot of runners on, just didn't find holes and try to compete. You're doing it with wood bats, which most guys don't do very much of it. So it's a chance to figure out, a little more efficient swing path and things like that against some good arms. And so it's just a great opportunity to compete at a high level.
Mustangs were at Joe Becker tonight because the Outlaws are on the road. After dropping the first 2 games of their road trip, the Outlaws had won the next 3 entering tonight's game in Carroll on a little bit of a hot streak. Pitchers duel tonight, Chris Massey from Central Missouri, great on the mound. He escaped a bases-loaded jam in the 6th. Next inning, same thing, got out of it. Joplin scores 3 in the top of the 9th to win it. That's it for sports. We're back with more news after this.
Today marks World Rainforest Day, a time to reflect on the importance of these vital ecosystems and the activities threatening their survival. Besides providing food and other resources, rainforests act as large carbon dioxide catchers, with the trees absorbing harmful CO2 and emitting clean oxygen. But with rainforests under attack from deforestation, some environmentalists say it's time to use technology to fight back. Fox News' Ted Linder takes a look at how a seed planting robot and tracking pants for frogs could make a difference.
You're probably familiar with the Amazon rainforest, the largest rainforest on Earth. But did you know rainforests exist on every continent except Antarctica? According to National Geographic, these ecosystems cover roughly 6% of the planet. But since the late 1940s, tropical rainforests have shrunk by more than half, mainly the result of deforestation from illegal logging and mining operations. Now, new high-tech innovations could help save these vital forests. Deep in the Amazon, members of the nonprofit group Jungle Keepers are using a solar-powered seed planting robot.
It's able to plant all of our seeds for our nursery, freeing up our rangers to do other tasks. We can plant up to 600 trees in a morning.
Once the seeds sprout, crews plant the saplings across areas where trees were cut down. Meanwhile, to better understand the navigation abilities of rainforest frogs, a team from Stanford University is attaching tiny radial pants to 3 species. The devices allow for better tracking in the dense forests. Scientists are hopeful that using more technology in the rainforest can combat deforestation and assist with tracking biodiversity. And with Thursday marking World Rainforest Day, you can visit worldrainforestday.org to learn more about how you can take part in saving these ecosystems. Ted Linder, Fox News.
America's honeybee hives just staggered through the second highest death rate on record, with beekeepers losing nearly half of their managed colonies. But using costly and Herculean measures to create new colonies beekeepers are somehow keeping afloat. The University of Maryland and Auburn University survey found that even though 48% of colonies were lost in the year that ended April 1st, the number of United States honeybee colonies remained relatively stable. Honeybees are crucial to the food supply, pollinating many of the crops we eat, including nuts, vegetables, berries, citrus, and lemons. Coming up, we'll take a look at what is new this week in streaming and in theaters. New comedies are in theaters and streaming at home this week, plus thrillers debut and hit series return. Here's a look at this week's new releases with Fox's Ashley Dvorkin.
I'm going to teach you how to have fun.
Jennifer Lawrence leads the R-rated comedy No Hard Feelings as a woman trying to save her childhood home who agrees to date a wealthy couple's introverted 19-year-old son before he leaves for college.
The car exploded.
Wes Anderson's Asteroid City expands to theaters nationwide with its tale of world-changing events at a 1955 Junior Stargazer Space Cadet convention. In select theaters, Jacqueline Bisset stars in Lauren and Rose, about a life-changing friendship between a legendary actress and promising filmmaker.
If you see this movie, you are an accessory to a crime.
In theaters and on demand is mockumentary comedy Maximum Truth, co-written and starring Ike Barinholtz, about a political consultant trying to take down a rival congressional candidate.
He's here.
On video on demand is horror thriller The Angry Black Girl and Her Monster, inspired by Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, about a teen who embarks on a dangerous journey to bring her brother back to life. Netflix adds The Perfect Find with Gabrielle Union as a fashionista who falls for a coworker who happens to be her new boss's son.
I can't stay here for the rest of my life.
Tubi's Cinnamon follows an aspiring singer running from a crime family after a robbery goes awry.
Wait, Dad was a rapper?
Disney Plus debuts hip-hop musical adventure World's Best, about a 12-year-old math genius who discovers his late father was a famous rapper and sets out to follow in his footsteps. MCU series Secret Invasion has Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury on Earth to uncover a plot by rogue Skrulls.
We need like a reset.
Plus, Yes Chef, Hulu serves up the complete second season of the hit series The Bear. In Hollywood, Ashley Dvorkin, Fox News.
And that's our time for tonight, and thank you all so much for joining us. But before you go, we'll leave you with a video of bunnies in Tustin, California. Be safe, and we'll do this all again tomorrow. See you then.